We are live. Hi, how's it going? Good afternoon, Stephen. Happy
Good
Friday.
afternoon.
So welcome to this live stream. This is technically day 2 already. Day 2 of developing the new recipe for Tea Curious Water. It's Friday, May freaking 20 already. That's crazy. And we have yeah, actually now it's 8 days until we have to develop this recipe from start to finish. So yeah, nice to see you guys. I hope that you're having a good Friday. Today the agenda is going to be testing out these waters that we picked up on our trip to LA in preparation for this development process. So just to be clear, we are trying to develop a new water for Tea Curious Water. We already have 2 of them, and we love them, or Surginal and Autumn. But we want to develop a water that is well suited for all these amazing spring harvest green teas that are coming out, specifically Japanese green teas. If you're asking, like, was it only going to be like spring harvest Japanese? What about like Yokuro, or like, something that's not Shincha necessarily? What about Chinese green teas? What about Darjeeling? I'm honestly not sure yet. This is how in process this water development process is we don't really know exactly where we'll end up, but we do have an idea of where we're going, and some places where to start. So today we're going to start by testing out some of the Japanese waters that we found at that Uwajimaya in LA, because in theory there's this idea that the water from the place where the tea was grown is going to be the ideal water for that tea. And I mean, Japan's a gigantic place, and the tea farms are so, well scattered about. So it's not like there's just one Japanese water. But there is that concept of Japan having particularly soft water, which you learned if you were with us with our last live stream. So we're going to test these waters out. And make a day out of it. Yeah. Any questions? Let me know. So nice to see you guys. Let's say hi. Gabby, Shiloh, nice to see you. Eric, Devora, Leaves in Hot Water, Leo, the Tea Potato, Green Hall, nice to see you. Joni, Joseph, Terry. Yeah. Awesome. Steven, how's it going?
Hey.
Yeah. This is going to be fun. So I hope that you guys relax. This is going to be a pretty relaxing live stream. I'm not going to be too kind of bouncy about it. This is really like, I don't know what's going to happen. I've never tasted these water. We typically do that anyway in live streams. I don't script anything. I don't script most things, okay? But like, we barely script anything. But this time we're really in the dark. We are at the very beginning. Nothing has happened. We've only tasted one tea through this process. And that was yesterday when we were making the reel. Like whatever tea we brewed, we just tasted it. That's it. So we are in the very beginning of this process. By the end of it, by Saturday next week, we will have a completed new Tea Curious water. It's crazy. So if you'd like, please let me know. I'd love your thoughts. What do you think about the new recipe being one specifically for Japanese green teas? So what are your thoughts? Japanese green tea focused water. And also, do you think that it should also cover for really precious spring green teas, let's say like Preaching Ming, Dragonwell, or like, early harvest, any other Chinese green teas, first flush Darjeeling, first flush Himalayan, Nepalese teas, anything like that. We're still kind of like in the middle of figuring out what we want to do. So yeah, and let us know how you're doing. Let us know what kind of teas you're having today. So yeah, cool. We have 3 waters that I think I'm going to test. So this is me and Steven being in Japantown in LA. And I walked in there looking for mochi. And then we saw these waters and we're like, Steven, we go look at these waters. So we picked up these waters. We actually were parked quite far away from our car, so we were lugging these gigantic waters back. And we like to pick up bottled waters just for development purposes. We're trying to wean off, the idea of Tea Curious water, right, is to wean off the dependency on bottled waters. So we like to pick up, 1 or 2 bottles of a bottled water that we like, just to see if we can copy it and therefore never have to go back to the bottled water again. Because these guys, have been shipped from Japan. If we can copy them, which is the idea of Tea Curious water, we reverse engineer natural waters so that you can make them at home using the droppers, which we should have the droppers, Steven, in case we have friends who haven't seen the Tea Curious water before. So who knows? One of these waters that we're testing today might be the kind of prototype for Tea Curious water. It might be the one that we copy. I'm not sure yet. No clue. Yeah. So we got some comments about Uwajimaya. It's super fun. They have a really good tea selection. Tea Potato has someone Japanese tea biased and focused. I may be biased. Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of lean into the Japanese tea world more with our waters. I think Japanese green teas are just very specific. The processing of them is very specific. You know, they're steamed, right? Like very few green teas or just teas in general are steamed. And Japan is just a specific, just terroir, you know, both human factors and like natural factors that make Japanese teas so specific. And honestly, I think original, I really, really love with Japanese greens. But I do find original can be a little zesty for a Japanese green tea, a little bit like tricky to work with. It's a challenging water to work with. I think it's like an advanced water to work with. So we love it, but I think that we would like to move in the direction of a water that's a little bit more gentle, a little bit more delicate, not so like a little bit less of like the fresh, like wow, like zesty, like wow, sparkly, and more of the more kind of like delicate and kind of laid back and like a cherry blossom kind of feeling, you know? So a light water, probably. For those of you who like autumn, probably going to be a lot lighter than autumn, even lighter than original, to be honest. Okay, you guys ready? Let's brew some tea. So I'm going to talk openly. If you have any questions about what's going on, please let me know. This is really fun to document this. We will save all of these so that people can see, like, yo, what kind of like magic or like chemicals do you put into your water? I'm like, here, you can watch this develop it from start to finish. That's a fun thing that we're doing. But my thought process is, if you're getting to know a water, if you're researching water, I've never had these guys before, right? You want to brew them with a tea that you know well, right? Standard Tea Curious kind of like ism, like don't change too many variables. Use something you know well. So we're gonna grab a tea we know well. You're gonna be shocked. Yeah, it's the Forever Spring Oolong that everyone has from the Tea Curious water orders. We send this tea out to everybody. Like it's hard to find a sample that we send out more. It's hard to find a package that gets sent out of this room without Forever Spring. We just know it so well. I do it because, you know, my teacher I makes this tea, and it's kind of like my, like, you know, I gotta like send out a little bit of like our beloved, you know, everywhere we go. But it's also very approachable tea, very basic. I like to describe this oolong as like basic oolong, just oolong as simple as possible, done really, really well. Nothing fancy. It's not a high mountain oolong. So this is a Sujishan oolong from Taiwan. Low elevation. It's from Nantou. I think it's from Nantou. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's from Nantou. This cultivar is known for just having like very springtimey, kind of like floral, a little bit of floral. Very basic, very pure tasting in the hands of our friend and teacher. So we're going to brew that, and then we're going to use our bowls. And we're going to brew these 3 waters, I would say. Stephen, if you can, like let's get started like heating these waters. Yeah, if you can help me keep track. Let's pick 2 at a time because we only have 2 kettles. Help me pick. So first one, I'm gonna start with, oh no, I should have like brushed up on my Japanese before this. I gotta like look at the back. Okay, right. So this first one, start on your left. This is a Kirishima water. I believe this is from, gosh, I wish I knew for sure, but I believe that Kirishima, this specific Kirishima that they're talking about is in the Kagoshima area of Japan, which a lot of green tea has come from. And that's why I got excited about this water. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Kirishima water. That's in our water calculator. Like, the water from that area is relatively well known for being good for tea because it's close-ish to like tea area. You know, you'll find like a lot of, I think you'll find like Kirishima tea, you know? So if this is it, it's going to be awesome that we'll be able to drink water from a tea producing area that I've heard about, like famous waters. There's this concept in Japan called meisui, like famous water. Those of you who practice Japanese tea ceremony might find this very familiar already, but it's the idea of like just cherishing famous water, knowing like the origin, where it comes from, a story that's kind of linked up with that water, and it becomes something special that you can bring to, let's say, a Japanese tea ceremony, seasonal event, guests that you want to like just show some hospitality to bring like a famous water for them to try. So that's the Kirishima water. I'm kind of biased to try this one today. So it's the one on the left. And then this one here in the middle is called Hida Tenensui. And I think this is from the Minami Alps, which is, they call it the Japanese Alps. I don't know why. I've never been there, but it does keep coming up whenever I search up like Japanese waters. So I am really interested in this water. Both these waters I think are relatively light. Let's see if I can get some details. Oh, it's covered by the sticker. This one is at least. Let's see if I can take the sticker off. Show me! Show me how much TDS you have. So in the back, there's some like details. This is why I don't really apologize about caring about water, because you'll find in a lot of like other countries other than America, you'll find the breakdown of the mineral content is like featured in that water. People care about, you know, and kind of at least have some vague idea of how to like what that means, what it means if the water is a little lighter, a little higher in calcium. Okay, so this sticker's coming off. This is a very light water. So this is 38 parts per million. Okay, so very, very light water. This is about 2/3 as heavy as Tikirus Original. If you have Poland Spring before, this is probably going to be in the same kind of region or neighborhood of heaviness. Okay, and then the second one, the Minami Alps Japanese Alpine water, is actually right around where Tikirus water is, 60 milligrams per liter. Okay, and then this one, the one on the very right, this is a hot spring water, and I was like, what? Hot spring water? Onsensui, which hot spring water, right? Can someone confirm? It's just crazy that they bottle this. Yeah, I'm like, wow, I never thought of it, you know, but how cool. Let's see if I can kind of find the TDS. It's blocked by the sticker again. Like, I guess the people at Uwajimaya were like, Americans don't care about like TDS and stuff. So let's put like let's put the nutritional facts right there. Let's see if I can like pull it off. No, it's not pulling off the same way. Oh my goodness. Please, Luyu, help us. Luyu's like, maybe not this one then. Yeah, it's not coming off very well. I'll have Steven like look at it a little bit later, but I know already just from like some of the stuff I'm seeing, it is going to be a no, gosh, I think this is the heaviest out of the three, and hot springs tend to have like heavy water, so I'm guessing this is a heavy water. The pH is high, which usually means it's a heavier water. So I'm like, yeah, we'll see. Which one should we do? If you have any thoughts. Kirishima water, Japanese Alps water, or hot spring water. Yeah. Let's say hi to, sorry, I'm just going on and on. Joe, nice to see you. T Project from Uruguay, nice to see you. Void. Not the Snickle Fritz. Yeah, nice to see you guys. Let's see. The question from Joni is the onsen water from Kagoshima? I don't know. Where is it from? If I could get like my Google Translate, I could probably look it up. This one's a little bit less. Maybe if I could send it to you, Joni. But the one from Kirishima is this one. This is the Kagoshima water. Kirishima, Kagoshima Prefecture. Yeah, so I'm not sure where the onsen water is from. We definitely sat there in like Uwajimaya, like using our Google Translate, being like, oh my gosh, this is it. Thank you. It's a good old Google Translate. It brings back so many good memories of whenever we're like in Taiwan and trying to like read what the specific like shop stuff is. The problem is though, it's actually very difficult to Google Translate Japanese because there's a different readings of different characters. Chinese, Google translates extremely well, but Japanese, forget it. It's very difficult. That's where you're like kind of laugh out loud at how like stupid the translator is. It's like a few sesame oils were added to tap water. Then, with the passage of time, sesame oils separate. It remains crowded. Yeah, no. But if I can at least just get some like key details, like where is it from, that's gonna be a little easier to translate, I think, because those are names. Let's see. Natural mineral water. Oh, it is from Kagoshima. Could you see it from the label, Joni? Yeah, manufacturer is this company from Taromizu City, Kagoshima Prefecture. Interesting. Cool, cool, cool. Pause this. Keep that, keep that. Okay. Yeah. All right. So it is from Kagoshima. Now I want to do these two because they're both from Kagoshima. But one is onsen water, one is spring water, right? So, yeah. But Joni says the second bottle. Yeah. So which one should we do? Which one should we do? Votes, votes. I'm gonna take. I want to take Tony's vote. We'll just do all of them, one at a time. Yeah, because you'll yeah, one kettle. So I will start with I'll probably start with this one, and then what we'll do a Tikiris original side by side, because the second bottle, like I mentioned, is very close to Tikiris water's ppm, parts per million, meaning like the same rough amount of minerals. So it's gonna be a really nice side by side, Stephen. And then we'll do the two Kagoshima waters together. Thank you for looking that up. So again, we will take this very easy and actually show you what we're doing. Yeah, what's up?
Parameters. How many grams? How many ml?
2.5 grams. We always use 2.5 grams for these bowls. It's great.
Do the tasting.
Yeah, and then if you could just boil the water.
How much?
Just 250.
250.
250, yeah. So we can save some.
I'm not gonna boil a whole liter, so.
Yeah. I want to save it. You guys doing okay? I'm so excited about these. It's been so long since we've tried a new water. Again, honestly, we don't do that much water stuff when we're not live. The point of Tikiris water is to not think about your water. You just become so comfortable using that water that it just does the job for you. But when we're in like development mode, yes, we're gonna go for it. So we're gonna use Forever Spring today. And then maybe for the Kagoshima water tests, we will switch to this amazing, this is from Mountain Stream Teas, Honey Fragrance Black Tea. One of the most amazing black teas. Love it so much. I got it from him when I was there. And Matt's just great. And yeah, Mixiang Honey Fragrance Black Tea from Taiwan. Really, really kind of changes a lot during the brewing process, depending on the water. You have a question? Yeah, what's up?
Just you'll want to have the teas in the bowl first.
Yeah. Is it boiling pretty quickly?
It will, because it's only 250.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So Steven's my manager. He's the one to make sure we get all of our stuff in time. Okay. So 2.5 grams. We have done so many tests for these bowls. So many tests that if Steven's like, what's the parameters? I'm like 2.5. It's always what we use. So nice to have like consistency so that when you're doing tests, you don't even gotta like, it's just so easy once you have like variables you can control. Okay, so that's one batch. So to catch you up, if you're just coming in, we're going to be brewing this Forever Spring Oolong. It's a Sujichan from Taiwan. A tea we know really well to get to know some of these waters that we're testing today. And we're going to start with the middle one, the Japanese Alps water. And it's important to note that if it's like alpine, because what I'm imagining is this water is like collected from high up on the mountain. Water collected from like higher elevation will tend to be lighter, in minerals. While water that's kind of collected further down the mountain, further down the source is going to be lower or higher in minerals, right? So it's going to be a light water for sure. Okay, so we'll start with that, and then later on we'll do the Mixiang probably. Yeah. Can you scroll up for me, Stephen, if you can? Let's see. Oh, Gabby's asking, are you able to talk about your process on moving to Taiwan? Yeah. That's honestly like a splinter in my finger because I'm like, fuck, when are we gonna go? I have to finish out the week at my day job this week because I substitute for the local school district.
What
and
second
then
water will
the Tikiris original, yeah. And I just wasn't thinking about Taiwan opening until they opened suddenly in like April. Just so we were caught with our pants down. I'm like, oh my god, we can't go yet. We're not ready. We kind of like invested in a couple other things. We have all these projects going. So technically, if I knew we were gonna be able to go right now, we would probably be getting ready. But because we signed up for so many projects and so many like things are going on, I think we'll have to wait until like fall is where we're like, please, please, we don't want to spend another like year in Vegas. So what we're doing, which hopefully this helps though, all the projects we're doing is going to strengthen our visa application to the Taiwanese government. We're going in as like an entrepreneurship kind of startup program company, and then yeah, I'll drag Steven with me, and then hopefully they'll let us in. I think our application has a pretty good kind of like pretty good pitch, you know, because of our history, like working with Taiwan and like how many times we've been there and what we do. But we'll see. I hope that they understand me. The challenging thing is I have to write all my documents in Mandarin, so I need to help. And I'm having people help me express what I want to say to the government to basically be like, we will help Taiwan and Taiwan will help us, like best friends forever. Let us in. So that's what's happening. I don't mind you asking though. It's just one of those like we really want to go. We really want to go. So, yeah. So thank you for asking. And then my necklace from the Philippines. This is funny. I got it from a street vendor there, and my uncle was like, "Don't buy the necklace that's $1 from like the street vendor. It's not gonna last." It's been like 3 years. So this water, Steven, is the
Well,
bottle. Okay. Should I wait for you?
I need the kettle.
Oh, got it. Sorry, I forgot we're not using the other kettle. All right. 250, right? Did you measure
whole
out
thing.
250?
Yes,
Okay,
250.
I'm just double checking,
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna go. All right. And then Isaiah, it's nice to see you. Hola, ¿cómo estás? So this is gonna be the Japanese Alps water. Minami Alps is the name of those mountains. They're supposed to be good water, close to where Tikiris is. So this is going to be really interesting to see the same overall count of minerals, around 50 to 70, right? This is 58, so between 50 and 70 is where original lands, right? And if you haven't heard this, like, what is this 50, 70? What are these words? These measurements. It's how much minerals are in a liter of water. It doesn't tell you exactly what the minerals are. It's just an overall kind of like count. It's a really good way of estimating how light or heavy a water is. But within that count, let's say this is 58 ppm, 58 TDS, 58 milligrams per liter, all the same things. It could be a different like ratio of minerals. So it's going to be very, very interesting when we compare two waters with relatively similar, almost the same mineral counts, but different mineral ratios. We're about to have that happen. So I'm really excited. Yeah. Let me get my little spoon. Oh, Steven? You got Steven has a spoon. Yay. Thank you. I can continue the illusion that I actually have legs. I actually don't have legs. It's just my upper body.
Just disembodied voice.
Yeah, you're just a disembodied voice, and this is all a dream. Which, like, why are you dreaming about water experiments and tea? That's really specific. You should probably get that checked out. I'm just kidding. I've never dreamt about. Have you dreamt about a water experiment before, Steven? I dream a lot about work, but I've never dreamt about a water experiment before. I think it's too specific and too like important to me to like make up in my mind. So we'll see. Yeah. All right. So this is the. Can I get the water, Steven, so I can share it? Show it. Thank you. This one is for those of you coming in, we're testing the Minami Alps water. This is called Hida Tennensui. This is this water over here on the left, Japanese water. Okay, let's see if I can arrange it in a certain way. Yes, there we go. Haha. And then now this is Tikiris water, original. And I will be very honest if our baby doesn't do well. It's gonna be hard for me, but honestly, I will see. I will be very honest about if it goes well or not. I'm thinking this water has more bicarbonate. Like you can see it already, right? I can kind of guess what the mineral content is of the water. It turned dark so quickly. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm talking about my ass, but like, my guess is that this is gonna be sweeter and less bright, but this one is gonna be more bright, more florals, and then fruit will show up more in this water. That's my guess. Okay, this is a very standard to heroes thing. Make a hypothesis, make just a educated guess before you start brewing. So then after you actually experience it, you can kind of test to see if what your assumptions were correct. Not to see if you're right or not, which if you're right, it feels pretty good. But like just kind of like reinforce critical thinking, kind of like see if you get your assumptions are correct, right? I'm excited to taste these. So this is Tahiro's water. This is the Japanese water. All right. Questions, let me know while we taste these. So let's start with this water here. Bowl brew 2.5 grams of this Suji-chan from Taiwan. Which, by the way, feel free to visit us. Before I taste, Tea Potato is asking what lets you know that there's probably more bicarbonate. When a water is higher in bicarbonate, it tends to be a higher pH, just a very rough kind of relationship. Bicarbonate being just one of the many minerals in water. But bicarbonate is the one that I associate the most with a pH change. And the higher the bicarbonate, the higher the pH. And pH being high is what causes, if you were here for our previous live stream, tea polyphenols to kind of like degrade a little bit. And when polyphenols degrade, they become darker. And then they also become sweeter, but less clear, which is why I'm saying this is going to be a little sweeter, a little fruitier, but less like zesty, less bright. Okay? Just my guess. So darker water, more bicarbonate, higher pH when you brew it with tea. Interesting. What? It's so fun to like meet like a new water. I'm waiting for it to say something. It's very like quiet water. Wow. Okay, I should probably focus. Okay, I'm not gonna say too much. I want to see what Steven says about this tea in this water. Okay. Steven says he can't really read my poker faces. I don't think I have a great poker face anyway, but Steven can't really read anyway. Aftertaste. Okay. 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 Can I have some extra water, Steven? Just really quick. I want to like be able to drink. Pretty please. And then your thoughts. Then let us know if you have any questions about this process too. Then after we test these, we'll do the Kagoshima waters both. Side by side with I kind of want to do them with the Forever Spring to be honest, but the Mixiang is a good one too. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. What do you think, Stephen?
It's good.
Yeah, you like it? So you'll be able to like tell me what you think about it in comparison to the other one, right? More or less.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is original. This is our baby. So I'm a little biased, and we did formulate this water very heavily on this tea. You know, because this is the kind of tea we like to drink, like a very like clean, pure, like just tea, you know? Interesting. It's so interesting. I can't believe that these two waters are about the same TDS. Can we do a TDS check, Steven? Because even if your water says on the back of the label that it is a certain like TDS or amount of minerals, seasonal changes will affect that. So I want to see what it actually is. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, thank you.
That's tickets.
Okay. Oh, perfect. So can I just use that, or it's hot though, right? Make sure if you have a TDS meter, read at room temperature, because if you read it if you take a reading of the water after it's been boiled, it's gonna be really high because the heat kind of like changes the reading. So let's see if this is. I should have done this at the beginning. I'm surprised though. It's reading heavier than 60, to be honest. Okay, it's not that far off. It's at 71, which Tahira sometimes will like read 71, depending. So yeah, wow, that's so interesting. Okay, very different waters. Can't believe that. Okay, let's try the Tahira's water. Tahira's water is 60. So it's only like it's a significant, it's not nothing, but natural variations in water, they're about in the same neighborhood, to be honest. Like there are times when Tahira's water, because of the way that you drop it in, is 70, and this is going to be like 60 because of natural variations. So I would consider these to be same neighborhood waters in theory, but they taste so different. Well, what are your thoughts, Stephen?
I haven't tasted Tahira's yet.
Oh, that's right. I'm glad I didn't say anything. I am so fascinated. I can't wait to tell you the results. Stay tuned. Now this makes me want to test it with the Mixiang. It's so different. It's insane.
They're very different.
I will say, I'm going to tell you right now, original is pretty good.
For this tea.
Original is very good. I'm so happy with our water. Our water is pretty friggin' bomb.
For this tea, original is better.
Okay, I agree with you.
It's a better suit.
I agree with you. Could you guys hear Steven? For this specific tea, we're both agreeing that Tahira's water is a better pick.
For this tea.
For this tea. So for this specific tea, Forever Spring, we think that Tahira's water did a little bit better. Why, Steven? Thoughts? Just because. Yeah. You just like it better. Yeah, pretty much. For me, I think that... So here's where it gets tricky. If only I had you guys here in the room with me, because I think that there would be very different opinions, okay? I know that a lot of people would like this. This is delicious, actually. So we're testing the Minami Alps water from Japan versus Tahira's water for our recipe that we're developing. I think a lot of people would like this taste. And let me tell you why. If you like it when oolong is extremely like round, very like just balanced, round, almost silky with like a fruity aftertaste, and yeah, you would like this water a lot, I think. So what's interesting is my guess as to what the tea was gonna taste like is correct, which is kind of great. I can't believe I was able to guess that. It's pretty much on point, like without me ever having done this experiment before. My guess was correct with the results. This is more fruity, it's a little bit more sweet, a little bit more rounded, but less kind of like brightness and clarity. So if that sounds appealing to you in an oolong, if you prefer your oolong to be a little bit more smoothed out without getting super like dull, this water is great, I think. I actually like this water. I think it's a very elegant water. I think it's very subdued, which I think is actually what we're looking for in this new recipe, is something that's a little bit more subdued, more soft, more kind of like mild and mellow versus the Tahira's water, which is the original, which is very like poppy and sparkly, has a lot to say, Not to say that this water doesn't have a lot to say, but it's a little bit more like subdued, which is very nice. I like it. It's good. Very, very good. If it's notes, I'm getting like apricot, like fresh grass that's been like wilted a little bit, maybe. It's a little bit more wilty, The florals are a little bit more like dampened, if you really want me to use some tasting notes. It's good. Aftertaste is stronger. I really like this. Why I think the Tahira's original works better for this tea is it's a preference thing. I guarantee you, a lot of you would pick this water, and a lot of you would pick the Tahira's water. Yeah, the tea curious water is just very like clean and clear and crisp. It's like a treble sound, like ding, very like a bell, like a tiny bell. And that's what we developed tea curious water to be like. Is we like it, we like original to make tea sound like a little bell, like ding, super clear, but like a bell, it's a little piercing, you know. So it depends on if you like that kind of like sound, and the bell has to be a good bell. Otherwise, it sounds very like tinny and stuff like that. So with this tea, because it's like a low intervention tea, meaning like the way that it's been made has been really, really like pure kind of agricultural practices and kind of like minimalistic stuff done to the tea. It allows the niceness of the tea to shine through very clearly. It's a really good match. But I will say, if you tasted this, you would find that the aftertaste is not as pronounced as this tea. It's not as fruity. Very, very, very different aftertaste. This one's more floral, more like pure, kind of grassy. It tastes like pure spring water. Not to say like not to confuse you, but it tastes like pure water, which I like a lot as a tasting note. And from what I know of the tea maker, she likes this kind of taste also. Like pure. She uses the word pure a lot. So that's why I like that match for this tea. So yeah, what's interesting, Caitlin is bringing something up. Would be great for shincha. I find when I brew shincha, it's sometimes too bright with filtered water. This is exactly what I want us to think about is what's going to be the match for these waters. As you're hearing me talk about these waters and what I'm tasting, can you think of teas that you can kind of like, I would brew that tea with this water that Ree's talking about. It's more like fruity, mild, mellow, kind of like smooth, right? And then I would brew this other tea with this kind of like bright, zesty, clear, pure kind of like water. Think about which teas you would match. And everyone's gonna have a different answer, which is why tea brewing is so cool. And I want to empower you to like, you know, be your own tea brewer because it's so fascinating to see what people's choices are, you know, and when they brew tea. Like Forrest the other day was telling us, like I was saying, oh, you know, original is better for like lighter water, a lighter tea. He's like, oh, I love original or like lighter water for show pour. Like, you know, when you have like a match of like a light water with a really good show, some of the florals come out, some of like the crisp, clean notes of a show come out, which I totally agree with. Little secret that me and Steven have is we actually like to brew really good show pour with very light water, sometimes RO water. If the shoe is good, right? If the show is good. So that's what's happening. Cool. I'm so excited. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what teas you would match with these. So Caitlin is saying that this tea, this water, it's more smooth. The Japanese water might be good for shincha. I absolutely agree with you because shincha, Japanese green tea has a lot of the bittersweet polyphenols, right? Which I like polyphenols, right? But because of the way that Japanese green tea is processed, the way that it is, the way it tastes, everything about it, it lends towards that bittersweet side, right? A lot of catechins, a lot of brightness, you know, the steaming can kind of break down the tea leaves, you can oversteep it. So I really do think, I agree with you, Caitlin, that this specific very mellow water is in the correct direction of where we want to go for this recipe. I'm very excited to see that kind of like step. I like it a lot. I had no complaints about it. I would love to see what it tastes like with green tea. Which, by the way, if you're going to be free tomorrow, we'll do a live with these same waters with the shincha that we got today. Today is all about kind of getting to know these waters with teas we know so that we're not shocked because we only have a limited amount of water. But tomorrow we will brew those, that's Shizuoka shincha with these waters now that we get to know them. And we'll make guesses. I bet tomorrow that tea will be amazing with this water. Right, Steven? Like, it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Should we do some first questions too?
We'll have so many tests during these next few days. I'm planning on like doing a live stream every day until we finish, to be honest. So we'll do like first class Darjeeling, we'll do shincha, we'll do some Chinese greens if we have some space for that. We'll do different shincha because I don't want to like focus on just one region. So I have a Shizuoka shincha, I have a Yakushima shincha coming in. I think I have a Kagoshima that we'll be able to use, which would be great to try with the Kagoshima water. We'll do a lot. And yeah, as I'm going through this, I feel more and more like it might be truly a Japanese water recipe, to be honest. Yeah. Dino, nice to see you. Emily, Tyler, yeah, I've been talking and talking. Sorry, I've been so like slow to say hello to you guys. Yeah. Tyler, and also anyone else who's kind of lurking here who is a Japanese tea fan, I'm thinking a lot about you guys because I've noticed that some of the Japanese tea drinkers that have tested the water with us, in theory, original should be the preferred for them because it's a lighter water, but actually they like autumn, and that's because autumn is also a more mellow, kind of chill water, just a lot darker than what we want for this new recipe. So I'm thinking about you guys, and myself because like I am kind of slowly moving in the direction of a Japanese tea kick, to be honest. It's a long delayed response from last year's Global Japanese Tea Marathon. We've just been so busy, you know? But yeah, I'm really enjoying my Japanese tea life since then, which means like we need more of it kind of thing. So yeah. So Dino, the teas that we're brewing, this is Forever Spring. We're brewing this with water from Japan. All of the waters that we're brewing today are from Japan except for the Tea Curious water, which is kind of like our standard. This is original. For those of you who know our recipe, our standard first recipe, whenever you are sitting for a live stream with us, we're typically using original, unless it's like a darker tea where you want to sweeten it up, in which case we use autumn, which you can find out the details on the website. Ask me. I'm so happy to help you, even if you're not buying the water. Of course, if you like the water, please, buy it. It's fantastic. We love it. It performed really well today. But I just want everyone to be comfortable with their water, because if you're comfortable with your water, you can do so much with your teas. You can really artistically play with your teas. I'm excited for people to do that because I can do it, Steven can do it, and we're so powerful. Like our brewing capacity is really powerful right now. And then we can focus on the parts that we're not so good at. Let's say like I get anxious, so sometimes I like brew tea a little bit like, oh, I don't know what I'm saying, overthinking the tea. Because I have a steady water, I can kind of like remove that part and kind of focus more on other areas of my tea study journey, So all of these are Japanese waters. We've just finished Tea Curious Original versus this Minami Alps water. This is from a area of Japan that they call the Japanese Alps. Seems really pretty. I've never been there before. Lighter water. So any questions, just let me know. Happy to help. Thank you for asking. So this is a yes. I like this. We're going to test this tomorrow with a Shinja. Last half of today's live stream, we're going to, which it's not going to be as long as the first half because we did a lot of intro, but we will test the same. Should we?
Same tea.
Yo, I said I would use the Mixiang. Should we use the same tea or should we move on to the Mixiang honey fragrance from Mountain Stream? And I know that this water is supposed to be for like lighter teas, but today is all about testing the waters with teas we know well. We know this tea extremely well. It changes so much with water, but yeah, I'm having difficulty choosing. It's a toss up. So first like couple people to say whatever it is, I'll probably just go with what you say. So Mixiang or another Forever Spring. It's up to you. This is a consistency vote. And this is the, fun, like, Mixiang changes a lot with water vote. So, let me know, please. So, questions, just to see if we can set these aside, Steven. I'd like to keep these, and then, like, can we brew in, like, fresh bowls, if possible? This one's clean. This one needs to get kind of, like, the other one is, there's another one there. We have so many bowls. we needed to. So questions while we get ready. We're going to do these next. So let me catch you up on these. We found out that these are both waters from the same area of Japan. Thanks, Joni. This is from Kagoshima Prefecture, which is so exciting because so many Japanese teas come from Kagoshima. And again, there's a concept of the water from that original area is going to be the best to brew with those teas. Of course, there's so many waters in that area, like Japan is huge, Kagoshima Prefecture is huge. But it's just so cool, like really cool to like step in that direction of let's brew tea from that area with the water where it's from, And the idea is, if we can get to copy those profiles, we can have that same experience without having to buy the bottled waters all the time. That's the kind of core core idea we had for Tikiris water, because I would love to just buy these all the time, but the plastic and stuff. So that's the troubleshooting that we're doing with Tikiris water. Like these guys, if you haven't seen them before. Which, by the way, ooh, sorry, if you've never seen these, where have you been? I'm kind of shy talking about them, but they're wonderful. So we just finished the Tikiris original test. We will now test these two that I mentioned. This is, I would say, you know, relatively compared to this one. This is a mineral water. It's a spring water from Kirishima. And I think if this is the same Kirishima that I'm aware of, Kirishima area is quite close to tea land. I think you'll even find like Kirishima grown tea. So spring water, relatively light. This is 38 parts per million per liter, 38 mg per liter. So very light water. This is even lighter than the other one. So this, if you like Poland Spring, if you like Voss, this is going more towards that direction of very, very light waters. Okay. Yeah, Japan has very light water typically. And you got this chonker, which is hot spring water. Onsen sui, so hot spring water. I couldn't find the information on how much the TDS is of it. Tea Potato, didn't you like pull up the website for this thing? Did they tell you what the TDS was? I'm guessing that this is a high TDS water. We can check. What am I talking about? I got a TDS meter. Yo, use your tools, Ree.
Guessing.
I want to see what the back of the label is saying, because other countries will label the mineral content of their water, because it's only in America that I get like, made fun of for like knowing what mineral content my water has. So let's check it. Emily's asking, thank you so much for waiting for me, by the way. I'm just going on and on. Emily, how did you get this water? I wonder if my Asian groceries would have any. Yes, please do check. We got this specifically from Uwajimaya, which is a popular like Japanese grocery store. A lot of them in Cali. We don't have them in Japan. I mean, we don't have them in Vegas. So we had to get this from LA. But when we go to the Asian store, we do find, you know, some really cool waters. And yeah, Caitlin, we don't do this often anymore. I used to buy a lot of like just bottled water to test, but now that we have tasted most of them available to us, we very rarely do this anymore, and we only do it so that we can then recreate it using our, you know, much more like, I'm gonna use the S word, sustainable option of the refillable droppers. So these are refillable, keep them forever. We love them so much. Yeah. Okay, cool. So which one should we do? Did no one want to say? Change it up? Next one? Okay, cool. Yeah, fun vote. Okay, you guys are fun. I'm so boring. I want to do the consistency vote.
I was gonna say the same.
You're gonna do consistency vote too? Oh my, we're so old, Steven. Old at heart. We've done so many of these experiments, but we never get tired of them. Yeah, if I told Ree from like 10 years ago, like, you're gonna get into tea really, really hard, she'd be like, yeah, like, you will spend 3 years doing nothing but water experiments. Like, what? Are you serious? You didn't do like a cultivar deep dive for 3 years, Ree? You did a water deep dive? No regrets though. It's just so fun. We never get tired of it. The differences are massive. So different. Okay, cool. So we will do the fun vote. Thank you for helping us make the decision. And I hope you guys are still doing okay. Well-being check. You guys doing all right? Having fun? We're having a lot of fun, so thank you for keeping us company. I invite you to join us on any other day that you can do this too. We'll probably try to like go live around this time. It's gonna be nonstop until we get this developed. If you haven't watched my reel yet, this is due next week. My essay is due next week. My H2O created mineral composition essay. My composition. My mineral composition is due next week. We have a tasting event that I organized with Leo, our really close friend from here in Vegas. We've done tea so much together over the years. But we said, hey, let's do like a spring tasting event and we'll bring the new water. He's like, cool. How is it? I'm like, I haven't made it yet. So, which he knows. He knows. We'll actually do one of the lives with Leo. We're gonna go to Tea and Whisk, which we've been there so much. Tea and Whisk is where me and Steven met, so we just love what that store stands for and what Leo does. Fantastic guy. And we will have him try the recipe live. And Leo he doesn't hold back. So I'm a little nervous that he might be like, what is that? He might like make faces about the water we bring. So I'm a little nervous, but it's gonna be fun, you know, like, because Steven and I have quite similar palates, I would say. More similar than different, would you say, Steven? Right? We have some differences, but we do prefer the same kinds of water, for example. Leo he also has some similar tastes to us, but he is also quite different. And then we'll have a couple of friends kind of like join us, yeah, we will see if we can kind of like convince him that the water is worth bringing to the spring tasting. And that's when we're going to like kind of like let people have it for the first time. You'll be able to buy it on the website a little over a week from today if you're interested in it. And then we will make the recipe open source as always once I get to it. I promise I'm not like forgetting to update the autumn one on purpose. I just haven't had the time.
Original is open.
The original is autumn. What original is open, but autumn is secret? Is that what Steven said? Steven is like chaotic neutral. I thought I was chaotic neutral, and then I met Steven. Yeah, today there's an appointment I could have skipped, but I went to it just because I had to, and I'm like, am I lawful good? I would hate for me to be lawful good. Isn't that the boring one? So I dutifully went, even if I could have skipped the meeting. Could have just done it differently. Just, yeah. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna redo this, because, okay, when you're doing your tests, make sure that you look at the leaves too, not just the leaves are different, right? You wanna check it? It's the accuracy thing. Don't just trust your, oh my gosh, which direction am I going? Don't just, oh my gosh! How do I do this? Ah, there we go. I'm not sure if you can see, but this one is a little dustier, and this one's a little bit more whole. I'm gonna throw out this one, because it's gonna skew the results. You know what I mean? Right? So, yeah. This is more like it. I think this is the bottom of the bag kind of came out here. Like the bits. So when you're doing experiments, be like, yeah, there. Thank you, Steven. Oh, wonderful. See how this one's more full. This one's more dusty. This one's more full leaf. It's gonna skew the results. So I'm gonna redo this one. You have to, as much as possible. So this is tea for later. Yay! I love this tea, by the way. Oh, I think Matt has a new 2022 harvest of honey fragrance out. So Mountain Stream Teas, go, 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 go. Amazing. So, so good. Probably my favorite Taiwanese black tea, to be honest. Like, Ruby 18 don't got nothing on, like, honey fragrance. So, okay, thank you. So, I will weigh out this guy again. Can I have my scale back?
I can take it.
Oh, sorry. All right. Thank you. So I'm just redoing the... All right, thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you. Oops. I started with a very harsh pour. So we're going with the Mixiang Honey Fragrance Black Tea. I was talking about how Matt from Mountain Stream has it. Amazing. So good. You need good water, though. So why not get it from Matt? Then get Tea Curious Original. It's fantastic. Honestly. So, like... if you can't taste the honey fragrance of that tea, it's your water. I can almost guarantee it. Thanks. Like, yeah, I'll eat my firstborn, which we're not gonna have a firstborn, so joke's on you. But you should.
If we do, we'll eat it.
Yeah. Well, no, Steven, no.
That's what you're saying.
Well, we wouldn't.
That's what you're saying.
I know. I'm just saying we wouldn't. I'm just saying we wouldn't. Okay, so I'm just writing this out again. Okay, that's better. All right. All right. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mixiang Black, honestly, one of the most underrated Taiwanese teas, black teas, just super underrated by us in the West, because obviously people in Hualien know this tea. And we're just behind, basically. Yeah. All right. So this is the onsen water. So hot spring water from Kagoshima. This is gonna be just regular spring water from Kagoshima. And I didn't even test the TDS of this guy yet. I want to see. Okay. Hey, Tea Potato, thank you for showing us the onsen sway breakdown. Sodium 5 milligrams. It's different from what the label says for this one. pH is the correct one. It's a light water, huh? Maybe I was wrong. It's not that heavy. I'm very interested to see the pH is so high for having such a low mineral content. So that'll be fascinating to see. I'm gonna double check to see because I can't see the label. The sticker is kind of torn off. Ooh, ooh, ooh! What? This must be like all bicarbonate, Steven? There's no hardness because I'm looking at Tea Potato's list of the minerals. But wow, look at this measurement, Steven. Is it all bicarbonate? I don't know. So in theory, with the amount of specific minerals that the Tea Potato is showing on the reading for the water, it should be a light water around like 30 ppm, but it's showing up as 130, and it's not hot. So that's an accurate reading, relatively. So the mineral balance of this water is very different than usual, and I'm really excited to see what that does, because we actually are leaning towards an unusual mineral balance, like less usual mineral balance for this new water. Okay, I forgot to test the aroma, by the way, of the first batch that we did. Should I just use the same spoons?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me at least, like, can you rinse them for me, please? Thank you. It bothers Steven too much. Yeah. So let's see. Questions. There are some people in this chat who actually have the draft of this water that I've sent to them in an order. If that's you, you should blink twice and tell me in a DM what you think about that draft, okay? Yeah. Let's see. Thank you, Steven. So, wow, look at the color difference. This is insane. So this is the onsen water. It is looking like the bicarbonate's very high on this one. Remember, dark tea, when you brew it, means a higher bicarbonate, higher pH. Or maybe it's just the pH, because I think there's some like weird like chemistry stuff that can happen where you can make the water like a high pH but low bicarbonate because of like geology. So I don't know, but based on my reading, I think there is like a significant amount of bicarbonate in this water. Let me taste it. I've never had hot spring water before. Cheers. I've never had water like that before. What? That's crazy. Steven made a face too. I've never met you before. Never met this girl.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Are you gonna try the other one too?
Now that you've said it.
Test it.
Well, I know, I
TDS.
knew that this is gonna, like, it's a more typical spring water.
Right, yeah.
It's gonna taste like spring water, but that's very different. Which I was thinking it was gonna be a wild card kind of water, because hot spring water, typically they like, you know, they market a hot spring water for being like healthy. They don't talk about it being tasty, which I don't think it's a particularly tasty water. I think it's quite rough, to be honest. The hot spring water makes me want to bathe in it. I think it'd be pretty dope. It'd probably make my skin feel really good. So maybe in that direction, but wow, so beautiful.
Test it.
Huh? Oh, sorry. I should test it. Yeah. I thought you just wanted to drink it. I'm sorry. Whoa. Did I not like this? This is high. 84 ppm. Is this reading high maybe? I don't think so. Maybe it's just the specific batch that we got is high. Yeah, so because of like natural variations. We'll test it again later. But this water, this is why you have to use many ways of double checking. Taste it and like, use a TDS meter. It's a very high reading, which is, I'm not so surprised because as seasons change, water changes in nature, right? Like Lake Mead right now, with like a water crisis in Vegas, the TDS is going to be very high at Lake Mead right now. So 82 parts per million. That's way different. That's like twice, 2.5 times more than what the bottle's saying. So natural variations in natural waters. So okay, I'll accept it. Tastes very good though. I like the taste. Okay, so this is actually, this water that we thought was going to be like a lighter water is actually quite heavy. This is partially why too I really like the consistency of Tikiris water, because the jump is not going to be that high. Like when you use Tikiris water, you'll never be like, oh, I'm going to formulate the water and suddenly it's 2.5 times heavier than I think it's going to be. With natural waters, including like springs you collect from, balled waters, it could change this much. So it's less consistent. Not that I'm mad at nature for being not consistent, but if you're, looking for a certain result in your teas, consistency is probably better. Okay, let's taste this. These guys have been waiting for a while I talk. So hold on to your thoughts. I will read them. Questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Thank you for waiting for us to get to you. That doesn't taste like mixiang. If you like blindfolded me, I would be like, that's Kiman. Or Ginger Me. I'm sorry I spoiled it already. I just got so shocked. Sorry,
Dang,
Steven.
spoilers.
I know, I just got so shocked. Sorry. Here you go. Surprise! I'm sorry. I got so excited. Way different. Okay, let's try the spring water from Kagoshima. So same prefecture, same region of Japan, different waters and different types of waters. The onsen water will be groundwater, I believe. Typically, I don't know much about hot springs. I think it's going to be groundwater coming from below the earth, right? The spring water here should be, in theory, I think like melt water from top of the mountain or like an aquifer inside the mountain. So that's why you're seeing these differences in the waters. Just nature being nature. Okay. I was thinking the first sip of this, it doesn't taste like mixiang either, but then it peeps out under the blanket. Like, hello, honey fragrance. So the note showed up here. I don't think it's a good match, but the note did show up, the honey fragrance note. Yeah. I spoiled it for Steven.
It's okay.
Poor Steven. Sorry. So let's talk about that onsen water. So Joni said, I read a review that the onsen water is good with whiskey because whiskey has a pH of around 4.5. Interesting. So it balances out. So onsen water usually is going to be a little bit like higher pH, right? From what I've heard, more alkaline. So that's interesting. So it balances out the whiskey. Wow. Fascinating. Maybe we can use Tikiris water to like whiskey for whiskey stuff. We use Tikiris water to like make ramen because like you need a specific pH for like the ramen noodles to be bouncy. And then we'll like use it for soup and stuff like that. We use it for so many things. And Caitlin's asking, wonder what type of onsen water it is. Usually onsen water is known for a particular mineral. Maybe this one's bicarbonate because the rest of the minerals in the profile are not high. So maybe bicarbonate. It'd be interesting to see. I wish that I could translate this a little bit better. Probably after the stream, I'll try to like really like intently use my Google Translate. Or if someone wants a picture of it and is just bored enough to have me translate, that's fine too. I'm happy to help. So friends who are coming in today, just now, we are in the tail end of this test. We're testing the Japanese waters we picked up in preparation for this Japanese tea water recipe that we're going to make. So far, the other one, I think, is my favorite results. Did you try this one?
Mm-hmm.
Same, would you agree?
Yeah.
It's quite heavy. So, see, this is really, really reminds me why Tikiris waters, like, the idea of it is really important, because if I picked up this water for a tasting, being like, oh, spring teas, I want this water to be light water. This is a great, in theory, water for like Darjeeling, Old Bush something, green tea, this specific tea. I would pick this up in a heartbeat if I was somewhere else and needing to do like a tasting. But because the water showed up a lot heavier, because of maybe the season that it was bottled, it was just a low water season, right? So the mineral content versus the water will go higher. So then it's a heavier water than usual, than even on the bottle. I think that it honestly throws me off from the decision, right? It throws off this tea. I would have brought original instead, or this other water, the Tenin Sui water. Because now the result is that you think you have a light water, but you have more like a medium water. So the honey fragrance of this black tea, that's the honey fragrance black tea, for those of you who haven't had it before, it's kind of like Oriental Beauty, Eastern Beauty, where the leaf hoppers will bite the leaves and release that kind of like honey fragrance, but it's a black tea instead of a oolong. It's from Hualien, which is on the eastern side. Eastern side. I always forget. Eastern side of Taiwan. Delicious tea, wonderful, but so sensitive to water. I swear, like, it needs to be soft water for that stuff to show up. Which is funny because Hualien has medium water, but something about that area it just works, Tea farmers will like adjust the way that they make their tea based on what they're tasting, and what they're tasting is informed by their local water, right? So it basically, you just need to get to know your water, It's there, but like I think original will bring it up more. It's like peeping. Like you might not understand how poppy honey fragrance can be if you're using this water. I don't think that the full potential of this tea came out. I think it's sweet. I think it's quite sweet. But I think you could do that with a Fujian Black. Like Fujian Black will do this. Like a Nepalese Black. It tastes a lot like a Nepalese Black, actually. But that's not what I wanted to do. I want it to be honey fragrance. So this is like it would be okay, Interesting. As for the onsen water, we didn't say much about this. This makes it taste straight up like Kiman, I would say. Like a much earthier, much heavier, not bright or fragrant black tea. Yeah, it freaking tastes like Kiman. Like there's an earthy kind of like root vegetable note. So then you say to all the tiny leaf hoppers, what was the point? You didn't have to do that. It didn't matter in the end. All of your hard work didn't matter. Call up Matt or like text him online. Matt, it didn't matter. You and Jillian, it didn't matter. Everything you guys did. I'm just kidding. I'm being dramatic. But that's why I want the water to be good, because like at this very last stage of the tea's life, your table, you don't want the water to get in the way of the tea, right? And then it's drying, right, Stephen?
Yeah.
There's a drying quality to it. Is there any tea that you can think of that would be good with this water? Very low hardness, very high alkalinity, right? Maybe some heavy metals in it somewhere, I'm sure there's something. So yeah, thoughts. So Tea Potato is saying onsen water sounds good for Benifuki Kocha. Which, that's an interesting choice. I like that. I think that's brilliant. I like that a lot. So Benifuki Kocha. Benifuki is a type of black tea from Japan, right? I haven't had a lot of it, but from what I remember of this Benifuki stuff, it's a little too grassy for me to be a black tea. It's just not satisfying, in my opinion. It's a little like it's needing kind of like that bassy thing that this is happening to. So that's my interpretation of what you said. Feel free to expound on that if that's not the right interpretation. Caitlin says bag tea, maybe. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's why London water is so great with black tea because it's just so fucking hard that it just like obliterates all the catechins and makes it like basey. um, Jodie's saying that she's mixed tea curious water original before to dilute the sake. Oh, hey, we do that too. Sake part, not the diluting part, but we like sake too. We got into it because of Jess from Jess Miranda. Sake and tea, a really, really nice combo. Interesting though. Which, if we were going to dilute sake or whiskey or do anything after all of this water stuff, I insist on using tea curious water. Like, even when we make stock. We're like, Steven, can you get the tea curious water? Like, 1 liter of it. Oh my gosh. But on the flip side, Tea Potato says, I tried some tea curious water testing for whiskey. I couldn't get much difference. Interesting. Maybe you need a much more alkaline water because Tea Curious Original is quite neutral acidic, which we copied. Tiger Running Spring is the spring in the Dragonwell producing area that I was surprised that it's acidic because for a very long time I'm like, oh, alkaline water. Everyone talks about alkaline water. That should be the best for tea, right? Like alkaline, blah 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 blah. But Chinese tea studies and Chinese tea theory, it looks like they tend to like neutral to slightly acidic waters. Just a very broad sweeping comment from me on that. But don't shy away from acidity in water. Tiger Running Spring, the most famous like green tea spring ever, is slightly acidic. It's 5.5, something like that. It's quite acidic. So don't worry about like acidity in water. You'll like freaking tea is more acidic than that water. So yeah. Let's see. Joni, but how would we know what the tea is supposed to taste like if okay, but how would we know what the tea is supposed to taste like if we've never had it before? Is that where tasting notes on the vendor side is helpful? Good question. And let me think about that. That's a very thorough concept. So Joni's asking, if I'm interpreting this correctly, how do we know what the intended tea flavor is supposed to be like? Like, what is this tea supposed to taste like, right? If we've never like had it before, if we don't know if our water is good for it or not. Good question. And I think that I love your thoughts in the room about this. This is now like some philosophical stuff. Like, what is the definition of a tea? Who gets to define what a tea is? Is it the tea farmer who decides? Tea maker? Tea roaster? Sometimes all three are different people. The vendor, right? Sometimes there's a roaster, there's another roaster, right? Like, is it the tea brewer? Is it you, the person like drinking the tea?
Sometimes
The very,
it's a blender.
very end, the blender, right? The marketer, all of us together, nature. What is a tea? I really like this question though. And my gut reaction is something similar to what is being shared on chat right now. Probably what the tea tastes like brewed by the tea maker, and they're like, I like, this is what I want, right? Like, that's what I want it to taste like, kind of thing. Yeah. So, I would say that that's probably it. And then also to make space for which is the challenging idea, right? Like, it is also possible for the tea maker to have a definition of the tea, and then the end brewer has a different definition of it that is also valid, relatively valid. So, meaning, what I'm thinking about is like relating back to Japanese green tea. In Japan, I've never tasted tea on a tea farm in Japan before, but like the water there is very soft. Tokyo has moderately hard water. They think like Tokyo water is really friggin' hard. So tea farmers in Japan are tasting their water quite with quite soft water. However, if that's the definition of Japanese green tea, I know people who prefer Japanese green tea in a side by side with hard water, heavy water, because hard water like smooths out all the bitterness, makes it more nutty, more toasty, more cozy, more warm, kind of bassy. It makes Japanese green tea, hard water and Japanese green tea in theory not what's preferred. But if you have the correct hard water, if you brew it correctly, it can get very cozy, very tasty, and sweet with very little bitterness. A little dry, but fine. So if someone prefers it that way, is that okay? You know? And if someone prefers this honey fragrance black tea this way, because it's just me and Steven deciding this right now, is that okay? So I think we should be careful. I should be careful to not define it based on what I think this is what it's supposed to taste like, which I think you guys are mature enough to know, like, I'm not the end all be all for definitions. So it's fun to be able to like ask that question. And now I'm going to toss it over to you. This is why I want you to know what your water is, because then you can interpret what you think that tea should present itself as. That's what I'm interested in tasting from you. Like, I would love to sit down with you and taste the tea that you brew, because your idea, let's say we go to Hualien and we sit down with Matt's friends who make this tea, which we have. We've had the amazing fortune to sit down with them and drink the tea there and, you know, be in the tea fields, drink the water there. I honestly wasn't thinking about much about water. I was just thinking about like not killing all my tour people because I was running the tour. So I wasn't really concentrating, but you can taste the honey fragrance there, right? But the water is medium in Hualien. There's something about their water that just does well with the tea. It's a kind of like reverberating back and forth. Water in the area will be used by the farmer, so then they make the tea according to what the water tells them they should like fix, and then the tea, you know, reacts to the water, and then it's kind of like integrated, right? But even if you and I and Steven and the tour that we went with tasted the same tea brewed by the maker, right? I think we would go home, and if someone asked us to like interpret that tea, we would have different ideas of what that meant. For me, because of like my formal, quote unquote, formal tasting background, I used to do tastings for like, you know, wholesalers to like, I'm very interested in like what's a representative tea. I want this tea to show what I think makes it different and unique, which for Hualien black tea is a honey fragrance, right? With a lot of texture. And that's what I'm looking for. I want Essencha to taste like Essencha. I want Benefuki to taste like Benefuki. And you can like work with it, right? I want High Mountain to taste like High Mountain. Low intervention stuff is my favorite. I don't like stuff that's a little bit too like beefed up. Meaning like, it's my bias. I don't really like overly conventional teas. Teas with like a lot of like fertilizer, where like the fertilizer takes over the taste of the tea. That's a bias though. That's like, you can also get fantastic like conventional teas. Like really, really amazing. I've changed my mind over this over like the last couple of years. It's not just about it's not just about one thing, which you know already. But going back to that, wouldn't it be interesting if we all came down with the same tea that we've tried from the maker, and then you're asked like, how do you interpret this? I want you to bring out what you think is important. Because even with Steven, who's right next to me, we spend so much time together and breathe each other's germs and stuff. I think that your definition would be different because of what you value in the tea, right? Do you think that we'd brew the same? It's a stupid question. We wouldn't brew the tea the same way, right? Steven's less about tasting notes actually, and more about like the suchness of a tea, like the object of a tea, which, man. So let's say Taiwanese tea, we have Matt from Mountain Stream, right, who has one definition of tea, and then same region of tea, Floating Leaves. What their definition of what a good tea and what the tea should show is going to be very different. And you and me and everyone. So that's fun. Yeah, fun stuff to think about. I hope that was okay to go down that kind of like rabbit hole. Very, very interesting question, Joni, and thoughts. It's more of a thought that Joni had. I'm interested to see what you think.
Challenge.
Yeah, very challenging. And I think once you start doing water stuff, I do want us to start getting into these questions. I don't think it's useful to do water for no reason. If you're at the level that you're dealing with water, you are at the level to start dealing with these kind of like philosophical tea questions, you know? Like treating it more like an art rather than something you just observe, which all of you guys in this chat, I know that all of you do that. You interface with tea in a very kind of like detailed level, and that will come from the right brain and from the left brain, right? So question, yeah, like what would you bring out from this tea? And I want you to be able to choose light water, like original, autumn, this new water, my tap water, filtered water. It doesn't have to be Tihiras water, you know? I'm really not attached to like the idea of it has to be Tihiras water. It's very good, but it's not the only water.
It's the same as what everyone already
As long
does.
as you can use your tools to bring out something that speaks to you and is very exciting for you and for the tea and the people around you, and then I'm going to add and still does justice to the person who made it. I think that's what's fun. I like that. I like that space. I like that little area that we can play in. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Joni. Thank you for sharing your ideas too, you guys. Have the farmer make it. Yeah. Which I've had tea farmers make me tea that I'm like, I don't like the way you made your tea. Is that sacrilege? I think if you can honestly respect the person and not think that you're better than them, I don't think it's a bad thing to have a critical idea. It's the same thing with me, like, you know, whatever bullshit I spout that's not useful to you, don't take it. Respect me and like download the info and then use what you need and I'll do the same thing for you. You guys know this already. I'm talking to preaching to the crowd here. Okay, so any last thoughts on this water stuff? Any last, you know, any last ideas? Emily too has an interesting comment. I'm personally not sure that it should matter so long as you find a taste you enjoy. Absolutely. This is my bias. I'm like, what should the tea be? But and consumer, what is important for you? What do you like with your personal palate? Who cares if the tea grower likes the tea to taste pure? If you like to taste it like fruity, so be it, you know? Like, as long as we respect all of each other and like are aware of stuff. So I like that a lot. Anything else, Steven?
How will these do with Shinchan?
Yeah, so let's bring it back to the big goal we have, which is the development of this water recipe, which, use my invisible watch, we got like 8 or so days. By Saturday, we need to have those bottles packed. So we're gonna have these of this new recipe done on Saturday next week, including like us being super busy in between. So and doing all these tests. So doing this with you guys is kind of like my way of ensuring that I at least do a test every day. This is very fun. You get to like, give me ideas about what I should do, so it's not biased. So thank you for joining us. We're gonna do this pretty much every day, I would say. I'll take a break here and there if I'm tired, but like, if you're interested in this stuff, we'll keep going. Tomorrow we will brew these same waters with shincha. So I have dense hashi shincha. It's a Shizuoka shincha, Yabukita, very standard cultivar. I'm very excited to brew with it. To see if then the concepts that we found out today, which we have one water we like, we'll put that in. Oh no, not this one. That one. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's also blue. I'm sorry. One water we like. We have the snow water, which we will, I think tomorrow we'll bust it out. The snow water. Or should we, maybe tonight we should try like brewing it with a Forever Spring. Or this, the leftover. Yeah, we need to get to know that snow water. So we'll figure it out. But tomorrow we will have the snow water plus the Japanese water that we liked. And then original to see, we're going to start dialing in like, what's the water we want for this recipe, you know? We'll probably use Voss. Voss is... Can you hand me the Voss, Steven? I have my tiny T-Rex arms. Thank you. I don't have a half body, remember? It's just my top body. I can make a Filipino mythology joke. Did you know that in the Philippines? Never mind. You can DM me if you're interested.
I'm
Voss.
interested.
I know, right? Voss is a... it's like... Oh, no, it's not. It's artesian water, but it's very, very light. We need to get Icelandic water also. Do we still have some of that? Okay, cool. Awesome. We're very, like, resourceful. We don't throw away stuff we don't need to. The pH will have dropped, so we need to be careful about that. But the mineral content will be the same. If water is exposed to air, pH will drop, always. So...
Or go up, if it was acidic before.
Oh yeah, that's
It'll
true.
neutralize.
That's true. But this will go down. So...
What was it starting?
8.4 at the source. Anyway,
Gotcha.
this is glacier water. I'm also thinking... Oh no, this is... glacial spring water. Okay, I was like... Glacial spring water? I need to confirm. Sometimes these bottled water companies are very tricky. I've had people gift me water being like, oh my god, I got you water from like so-and-so. And I'm like... Not to be mean. I never mean to be mean to anyone. It's so hard to like it's so hard to learn about the labeling and stuff. But I've had people bring me like purified water from a place and I'm like, "Oh no, the minerals that could have told me about that place were removed." Purified water means like they ran it through a filter. So they basically gave me like bottled RO water. So it's tricky. These bottle companies are very tricky. It's just hard, right? But Alpha Spring, origin of Icelandic glacial. I don't know if it's glacial water, to be honest. I'm looking for like glacial meltwater. So we gotta double check that for Icelandic. And basically I'm looking for very, very light waters because Japan usually uses very, very light waters. Okay? So we'll do that. Coming up. Yeah. Questions before we end up closing out the session. It's been really great to share this with you. So fun. Really, really fun. So thank you so much. We will have a recipe together in a week. In time for all Shincha. I'm so excited. Ah, wonderful, wonderful. Emily says, I now wish that I brought back some Seattle water from an airport layover. Seattle has amazing water. They have like melt water. That's why Seattle's... Do you see anyone from Seattle here? I'm just saying, they think we're crazy because their water from the tap is just perfect. So if you're from Seattle, I'm not saying don't worry about it, but your water is fantastic. So, you know, if you're from Seattle, get Autumn is my recommendation, actually. Original is a light water. It's going to be similar to Seattle water. Not the same, but similar-ish, you know. I'm glad to see people want to experiment with their water. Yes, 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 yes. Let me know. Let me know how that goes. So if you would like to bring your own experiments, feel free. However you'd like to do this stuff with us over the next couple days. You know, it's going to be a week of this. Join us. Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow, snow water with Shincha, together with the Japanese spring waters and just very light waters in general, plus autumn. Oh no, plus original. Sorry. So the thing we learned today, our takeaway is, you guys are awesome. I'm so happy with the stuff that you've shared with me. I'm really, I feel very like watered, like a plant that's been watered with like tea people love. So I thank you for that. And our takeaway for the experiments for the development of this water is we like that one water. We know a surprising amount about water now. I can't believe I was able to predict that water. That was crazy. I kind of like shocked myself. But we do want, this is about right? Help us develop the water right here. If you want a water for Japanese tea, we want it to be less bright than the original for those of you who have it, right? And then also something that's going to bring out like the smooth kind of umami, like textural, but not removing the freshness of the Japanese green tea kind of taste. Because if you want the fresh, bright, very sparkly taste from the Japanese green tea, you can just use original. Nothing wrong with that. We use original a lot. But like a rich, almost like savory umami, but delicate, not overbearing, is what we're trying to go for with this water. Thoughts? In that direction? Yeah, I think. So something like that. That Hida Tenensui. No wonder they have famous waters in Japan. Like, that's dope. I'd love that. We also have a list of waters from Kyoto area, like Fushimi Inari Shrine's water. Like all the famous wells in Kyoto have like the mineral breakdowns of them. They vary a lot. I have maybe like 5 of them. So we will maybe test those out using the salts at some point during this week. So we will also copy Kyoto water. We will copy some Japanese waters based on what we know, what the mineral content is, through the week. But tomorrow, snow water, Japanese spring water, glacial water, and Shincha. So we're going into like the actual tea now that we're testing, okay? Questions, concerns? I think we're good. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. It's been so great. Let us know if you have any questions. This is going to go up on YouTube. So YouTube folks, if you're watching from like the future, we worked really hard on this shit. All right. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. We really appreciate you. Comments, concerns, ideas, help us develop this thing in the DMs. I'm always open. For example, Caitlin's saying really quick as before we end, I love water to mimic uji and wazuka. We have wazuka's mineral content. I confirmed it with I think I confirmed with Anna from Mindful Tea. It's like, yo, isn't wazuka water really light? She's like, yeah, how did you know? So uji and wazuka are actually quite different. Wazuka is known for very, very light water. Uji is a little heavier, interestingly. So we'll talk about that stuff. But yeah, thank you so much. It's been so fun. Have a good evening, you guys. Happy Friday. Appreciate you guys a lot. Bye.